Welcome to Church History for Chumps. My name is John. What in tarnation? Simon. And I'm here with Thomas. Good golly gosh. Duell and Taylor. Get a load of this guy. Treadway.
Heyo.
Nice.
Is that the document that you had to open up when you hit record the first time?
I don't speak of the documents.
Guys, listeners, he hit record, we started, and he goes, oh, wait a second, hang on.
Look, everyone needs a little pizzazz. You know what they say? If you can't hook them in the first 10 seconds, then they're gone. They're gonna forget about a better podcast they should be listening to instead. Right. So we gotta get them matched in.
Interested in church history does not have a lot of options. They have us or today's Anglicanism we're discussing.
Oh my god.
Of all the traditions, why'd you bully Anglicanism just now?
Because they stole one of our seminary professors.
Sure. Are there any Anglican church history podcasts?
There's our boy. There's Our Church Speaks by Ben Lansing. Yeah. Real interesting podcast there, Ben. Yeah, makes me wonder if maybe you guested on somebody else's podcast and thought, I can do that.
I'm pretty sure when last episode we did with him, I called him out on that.
Yeah. I
don't know if that was a good idea, but I did.
Yeah, and I stand by it.
Did you hear about Matt Barrett leaving Midwestern?
Yeah, that was man. The Baptists were real mad about that on Twitter.
Dude.
Oh my goodness!
Did he apostatize?
No,
from baptism, or from
even worse.
He became an Anglican.
He became an Anglican,
dude.
Oh, no.
So as you guys know, I was at Collegiate Week, which is the BSM's Baptist student college ministry, whatever. There's a couple different names.
Big sexy mama.
That's right. Christian Challenge, all of those. It's their big summer camp, right? I was out there in Oklahoma, and Southwestern had a booth too, Southwestern Seminary, and they had a whiteboard for the kids to write on. And one of the things they wrote was what's your hot take? And one of the hot takes written, I just walked by and looked at the board, was Anglicanism is trash.
Oh my god!
It's not a hot take. It was hot take at a Baptist convention.
It was 3 days after Matt Barrett did his thing. I was like, "Dang!" Yeah, the Baptists were mad, man. Tommy.
Yeah, they were very angry.
Who do you think would win in a fight between a room full of Baptists and a room full of Anglicans?
Well, the Baptists are also big boys.
That just means low stamina. That means they can tank a hit. Anglicans, I don't know. I feel like
it depends on if you're just drawing, random 10 Anglicans from the world or from America.
That's a good point.
If you go world, you're going to get some jacked Africans in there.
Yeah, that's
true.
It's terrifying.
If you go,
it's not like NT right.
It's going to be a bunch of 68-year-old women.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying. Albert Mohler could take NT Wright in a fight.
Yeah, he's got that vitality.
I feel like Al Mohler in his prime versus NT Wright in his prime. I think Wright wins.
Dude,
I don't know.
Albert Mohler is huge.
He's just tall. You know what they say about tall people?
He's got
harder they fall, Taylor.
He's a big boy.
He's just tall. NT Wright lives in the world of stabbings. That means they have to know how to use their hands, bro.
Speaking of that, Al Mohler probably has a gun.
Oh, amen.
But this isn't a weapons fight. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Yeah. No, gosh, if it's weapons included, then of course the Baptists would.
I don't like on our very ecumenical podcast postulating about which of our theological heroes would win in a
shoot the other
in a violent fight.
This is really high quality banter.
Oh man.
Would you guys if you guys ever got big, would you ever initialize yourselves like NT Wright or I don't know?
I've thought about that a lot actually, and I just don't think mine has a nice ring. It would be TE Duell. And then everybody would call me Ted, which I do have there's a couple people in my life who call me Ted or Teddy because they know that's my initials.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just doesn't kind of have that. I feel like if the second letter has to be a consonant, you know? and T.
Yeah.
Right, you know?
S.
Lewis.
There's so first off, in this world where Taylor gets big, I don't know if anyone wants to live in that world. Like,
what's your middle initial?
Wayne. T.W. Treadway works very well.
Hold on.
Yeah.
That is good. I like
T.W. Treadway.
If only you had the skills to make it worthwhile.
Oh, I know.
T.W. Tread sounds a little bit like D.W., like Arthur's sister.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
J.T. Simon. I mean,
J.T. Simon's good.
Not opposed. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's pretty good.
What if it was like John Thomas S?
Has anyone done that?
The
that
author
like
known as John.
How about John T? No, that's actually pretty normal. John T. Simon.
Yeah.
I'm giving away too much of my name. I feel like someone's going to use this to start stealing my banking information.
You and Tommy are like convinced that you're going to get doxxed. Meanwhile, I'm like, I work at Gateway Seminary. Our address is 3210 East Guasti.
My wife's name is Brandy. She's a teacher.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. People can find me.
Yeah. Alrighty, gang. Well, should we hop into the episode for today?
Let's do it.
All right. I got a fun one.
What do you got?
We're going in blind. I think we'll enjoy this one. So here we go. All right. I'm really proud of this cold open. So get comfortable. Check your yeah, there we go. All right. I want you guys to imagine something. The year is 1436. You live in the bustling city of Constantinople. You're a fishmonger. Your father was a fishmonger. Your brothers are fishmongers. And you know what? You're darn proud of it. If the Lord shows mercy, your sons and maybe even your daughters will be fishmongers too. The early morning shipments have just come in, and many of them wrapped in these loose sheets of parchment haphazardly. What will the morning shipments include? Some prized sturgeon? A couple 100 pounds of mackerel? Maybe even palinos, a delicious fish known to inhabit the warm waters during the autumn season. Suddenly, something catches your eye. As you and your peers begin to carry fish from the docks into the containers that you'll haul up to the market, you notice some strange writings on one particular sheet of paper. You instinctively shrug it off, thinking it to be nothing, but a voice in your head is persistent, and you can't help but wonder what it could be. As you peel the paper off the fish, a flatfish for anyone wondering, you see strange inscriptions that you've never seen before. It looks like there's something significant about this. So as you finish your shifts, you're kind of wiping the fish guts off on your apron, you're washing your hands, doing all the things that you would do in, 15th century Constantinople. You take the discovery to the local librarian, and you realize that you've just made a discovery of a piece of church history that has been lost for over 1,000 years. Gentlemen, we have just discovered the lost transcript of the Epistle of Diognetus.
That was a good cold open.
Thanks, man.
What got me the most is I want to know how much time you spent researching the fishing
fishmonger.
Yeah, the fish. Like, I want to see listeners. I want to see John Simon's Google history so bad.
Yeah, it's just like, what kind of fish would a fishmonger in 1437 find?
And then he comes in with this with the seasonal fish. What was it available in autumn? And then you knew how it tasted. What the?
Dude. I was like, hey Google, what fish would I have in Constantinople in 1436? Yeah, it was really that's awesome. It just made Tommy's phone go off.
Gosh.
Yeah, here's the thing. In the world of church history, I spare no expense at leaving every stone unturned for the sake of historical accuracy. But we're not talking about fish today, gentlemen. We're talking about the Epistle of Diognetus. Now, raise your hand if you guys are familiar at all with the Epistle of Diognetus, because to be fair, about 48 hours ago, I was not. So I'll raise my hand as not knowing. But you guys, any awareness, any familiarities there?
That was before the SBC was started, so
that's true.
You figured that out when you heard 1437.
just outside the window.
Oh man, I think I read it in a collection of patristic stuff a number of years ago, and I haven't returned to it since. I remember liking it, but it's been long enough I don't remember anything. So this will be educational.
Dude, it is a banger. It is a big time banger. So essentially, this kind of goes back to like the Didache. For those of you guys who remember the Didache, which is probably one of, if not the oldest like record of Christian writings in church history. This is kind of in that same vein. And so it's believed to be from the early 2nd century, typically dated around 129 AD. It's believed the fun thing about it is it's completely cloaked in mystery. So there's enough historical evidence to assert that it was significant and it was written by figures who affirmed the apostolic faith. And it was written as an apology, which, as we've talked about before on the show, is not like, I'm sorry, but an apology is kind of in the flavor of the 1 Peter verse, which is the defense of the faith. It is speaking to one typically who is outside of the faith to kind of say, hey, this is what you're getting wrong. This is an invitation, or sometimes in bolder authors, a command to listen to the voice of God and conform to the good news of the gospel. And
like what
apologies
Tucker Carlson does.
Gosh, yeah, man. I in fact, I'd love to hear a lot of Tucker Carlson apologies personally. Yeah, apologies are going to get really popular around the time of Justin Martyr, who is not long for who is not long to come along in church history at this point in time, because Justin Martyr, who's kind of a philosopher's philosopher, is going to write a number of these apologies, as will several figures in the early church. And so, we don't know who it was, who wrote it. It's believed, there's like theories that it was potentially written to the Emperor Hadrian, but that's not confirmed. If it was written to a guy named Diognetus, nobody's really sure who that guy is. And when it was discovered, again, in this silly fishmonger story, which is legit, like it was rediscovered after being underground for over 1,000 years as a piece of paper wrapped around a fish. That is the story.
That's really cool.
Which is,
it's also weird to think of like 1437 to us is ancient history, but to think that they in 1437 found this thing that was like super ancient. That's
absolutely
really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I literally can't imagine like what caused this person to be like, my fish wrapping has an interesting look to it today. I should really take this in.
Depending on who you interact with and like kind of what their worldview is. I was reading something just today and I wish I could have remembered it, but somebody said, well, all of this is relatively new. And they were talking about like the 1500s.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the time feels a little different, especially now, but back then for sure. Yeah, so it's a very interesting. So it's really short, like Thomas was saying. It's something you could read probably shorter than it would take you to read through maybe the book of Romans. It's broken up into 12 chapters, but each chapter, much like the biblical epistles, are, I don't know, a couple paragraphs at longest. And it is a very like clear cut, very easy to understand, probably because of the good work of translators over the years. But it's just a very straightforward apology, kind of, greeting this individual who has expressed some interest in the Christian faith. He immediately goes to addressing kind of the vanity of the Roman idols and takes some very like biblical kind of Isaiah-esque arguments of being like, you guys are praying to wooden statues. Who made the statues? Was it a person? Doesn't that seem kind of dumb? And kind of building out from that. And then, he goes into Judaism and saying like, yeah, we came out of Judaism as Christians, but he goes pretty hard against Judaism being really caught up in superstition and how their rituals don't quite have the heft because they pointed towards Christ, but they haven't quite connected it with Christ. And then he just goes into explaining everything about Christianity that is just really beautiful. And what's amazing is this is such an early text of church history, and yet you could read this and by and large, like, really just be like, yeah, I'm on board with like 100% of what this says. Like, there's really not a lot of comments or statements that are like, I don't know, maybe that was, a different view. It's really like, oh yeah, all of this is something that I would stand behind. So, yeah.
I'm looking at the first, just the way it opens is even great. Most excellent Diognetus, I can see that you deeply desire to learn how Christians worship their God. And then he lists a bunch of the questions and this could be really fascinating to get a sense of like what were second century like inquirers, seekers in the 2nd century, what were they asking about? And so the questions, what is it about the God they believe in and the form of religion they observe that lets them look down upon the world and despise death?
Yeah.
Why do they reject the Greek gods and the Jewish superstitions alike? What about the affection they all have for each other? And why has this new group and their practices come to life only now and not long ago? Right. Excellent questions. That's great. That's so good.
Yeah. I mean, and this is like, if you were to write an apology or even just on a more casual basis, if you were to have a conversation with someone who was not a Christian, the first thing you would try to understand are, what are their questions about the world around us, about God, about the Christian faith? What do they understand to be true of the world around us? And then you would engage that. So it's like, yeah, the rules of apologetics, the rules of explaining and teaching the faith have been pretty universal for the past 2,000 years. Like, they weren't doing something totally uncanny and impossible to replicate back then. So yeah, I've got a handful of passages that I just want to read, just because a lot of them are just really, really well written. Yeah, one of the things that I read was that while there's not a whole lot that we know about the author of this epistle, one thing is that this dude was just a whiz at Greek. Like, Greek was the language that it was written in, but also it's just incredibly well written. So it's believed that whoever wrote this was probably at least fairly well educated and had some rhetorical rhetoric skills when it comes to ancient Greek. So, but I want to read it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, everything that you're saying right now and the format of it reminds me a lot of Luke's writings, where like he's writing to like maybe a benefactor or someone inquiring about the faith, and he just delivers this absolutely pristine document with sound logic, sound Greek. It's perfect, and just hands it off as an apologetic.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. So he's speaking, this is kind of, I think, from the 4th or 5th chapter. So he's going to spend the first couple chapters talking about, yeah, you believe in the Roman religion. I'm not sure I buy that. The idolatry thing seems kind of weird. We're not the same as the Judaizers. We believe differently. So who are Christians? Let me tell you who Christians are. So speaking of Christians, he says, they dwell in their own countries, but simply as sojourners. As citizens, they share in all things with others, and yet endure all things as if foreigners. Every foreign land is to them as their native country, and every land of birth as a land of strangers. They marry, as do all others. They beget children, but they do not destroy their offspring, which I think is like such a funny jab to be like, there's something they don't do. They don't do that.
They don't sacrifice
they have a common
their
table.
Children.
Yeah, they have a common table, but not a common bed. Another jab. There we go. They are in the flesh, but they do not live after the flesh. They pass their days on earth, but they are citizens of heaven. They obey the prescribed laws and at the same time surpass the laws by their lives. They love all men and are persecuted by all. They are unknown and condemned. They are put to death and restored to life. They are poor, yet make many rich. They are in lack of all things and yet abound in all things. They are dishonored, and yet in their dishonor are glorified. They are evil spoken of, and yet are justified. They are reviled and blessed. They are insulted and repay the insult with honor. They do good, yet are punished as evildoers. When punished, they rejoice as if quickened unto life. They are assailed by the Jews as foreigners and persecuted by the Greeks, yet those who hate them are unable to assign any reason for their hatred.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are these little scripture subnotes that are like embedded in the text? Is that part of the original text?
I imagine it's probably translator's notes, but it's very possible. Yeah.
That'd be really
my only thought is like, I don't know if they would have the scriptures broken into like referenceable like chapters
modern.
and verses. That's kind of my thought.
Super modern. Yeah, good point. Good point.
But he just kind of talks about like Christians have really encapsulated this concept of virtue, and there's this incredible thing that despite the fact that Christians are consistently virtuous, they are reviled and attacked and treated poorly. But even in that mistreatment, they continue to walk as people of integrity for the glory of God, knowing that they live in the world, but they belong to heaven. And just beautiful stuff. Another passage I want to read from is, I think probably one of my favorite points that he makes, because, I was a classics minor in college, and when you read the stories from like Greek and Roman mythology, the concept of how they understood divinity and the gods that they served, like those gods were like, they were fickle, they were vindictive. Like Zeus is like the head honcho in the Greek pantheon, and this dude is like constantly disguising himself as like different people and creatures so he can sleep with women. Like he's like just like a like an awful sleazeball constantly. And so this author is kind of saying, here's this understanding you have of like the Roman religion and how your divine beings relate to you. Now imagine this, and here's the quote. He says, "Was it then, as one might conceive, for the purpose of exercising tyranny or of inspiring fear and terror? By no means, but under the influence of clemency and meekness, as a king sends his son, who is also a king, so sent he him. As God he sent him, as to men he sent him, as a savior he sent him, and as seeking to persuade, not to compel us, for violence has no place in the character of God." So he's like, there was no like angel, there was no demigod. Like the incredible transition from the Roman cult religion and Christianity is realizing that the God that you serve actually gives a rip about you and has a compassionate heart towards you, to the extent that they would undergo suffering on your behalf and not solely demand the suffering of others for their own behalf. Like that is a crazy transition to get to. And I think he just articulates that super well.
I love it. I'm just looking through this. I really, really want to give this a reread now.
I'm looking over who people think could have authored it, and it's basically everyone that was alive. This could have been Clement of Rome. It could have been Apollos, a Martian. Could have been Martian. Hippolytus, Theophilus, Aristides.
Yeah. Another thing, dude, is like this was an age where not only was the church not super like developed, but a lot of it was underground because persecution was so sporadic. So they didn't have a lot of freedom to keep a ton of records around this time. So it's just harder to kind of trace the lineage back. But yeah, I don't think they really have a single clue of who this was.
If this is dated to early 2nd century, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy that his talking points about Christians, and even if it's not dated 2nd century, it's either early 4th. Like the latest it is early 4th. So this is like still
right.
All these talking points are so interesting that it's like Christian apologetics to this day.
Yeah. Go
ahead, John.
Oh no, I was gonna say, for reference for some of our listeners who kind of know where we're at in terms of like episodes. So this would have been 20 years after the martyrdom of Ignatius, and 20 years, give or take some change, before the martyrdom of Polycarp. So yeah, this was, like I said, this is early stuff.
Boy Polycarp
could have been, man. I don't know. Guess is as good as mine.
I'm looking at this, the way it concludes. I don't know if you had content on that. I don't
go for it.
On your train. It's really interesting. So in the final chapter, he's basically like, and what this is for those who are listening, you really ought to go look this up. When we say chapter, it's like a paragraph. So it's 12 chapters, but it's like 12 paragraphs. Like you could read it in 20 minutes. The final chapter, he's basically like, all right, so now I've told you all of these things. And then he riffs on the theme of the Garden of Eden, and he basically, to the listener, Diognetus, he's saying almost like the garden is in your heart. And he's like, you have the tree of knowledge and the tree of life have been planted. And the tree of knowledge is not what destroys. He says it is disobedience that proves destructive. And he says, nor truly are those words without significance which are written, how God from the beginning planted the tree of life in the midst of paradise, revealing through knowledge the way to life. And when those who were first formed did not use this properly, they were through the fraud of the serpent stripped naked. For neither life can exist without knowledge, nor is knowledge secure without life. Wherefore both were planted close together. And he goes on, he's basically saying, you have the knowledge, you have access to the life. If you don't lay claim to these things, then you won't have life, just like in the Garden of Eden. But it's on access for you. It's like, I don't know. We see, like, you know, the end of a evangelistic conversation that we might imagine today would be like choose Jesus, or, you know, repent and believe, and like nothing wrong with those things. But this is like such a beautiful unfolding of that call. Like, hey, like this has been made known to you now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing that I thought was really interesting was there's a quote where he references God giving his son as a ransom, which is a very biblical concept. But I thought that was really interesting because when we look at how the church understood the idea of atonement, there's kind of like this seasonal, I don't know, it kind of goes through different seasons where the church kind of understands just different glimpses of the atonement in different ages. And during the early church, they're very big on this idea that like Christ was kind of offered as a ransom to satisfy this necessary kind of guilt offering in a sense. And also this kind of Christus Victor, that like Jesus was the champion that dethroned the evil powers of Satan. And so I just thought it was interesting because we don't often see a lot of the ransom language in more modern writings about that. And I thought that was really interesting because that was kind of a little theological time capsule.
What chapter was that in?
That was chapter 9, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. He says, through exceeding regard for men, did not regard us with hatred, nor thrust us away, nor remember our iniquity against us, but showed great long suffering, and bore with us. He himself took on him the burden of our iniquities. He gave his own Son as a ransom for us, the Holy One for transgressors, the blameless one for the wicked, the righteous one for the unrighteous, the incorruptible for the corruptible, the immortal for those who are mortal. Yeah.
Oh, dude, this last sentence of that chapter is a banger. Having therefore convinced us in the former time that our nature was unable to attain to life, and having now revealed the Savior who is able to save even those things which it was formerly impossible to save, by both these facts he desired to lead us to trust in his kindness and to esteem him our nourisher, Father, Teacher, Counselor, Healer, our wisdom, light, honor, glory, power, and life, so that we should not be anxious concerning clothing and food.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so like that. It's so That's cozy. So it's like God's all this good stuff, and he's like, and you don't need to worry.
Yeah. So don't be anxious. See, dude, like I think what I love about this whole thing is, like I think that sometimes even in modern church we take these like ideas and they become catchphrases, and then the catchphrases become stale, and then they sound like cliches. But like this whole like Jesus is better idea, it sounds kind of hokey, but it's 100% true. Like this whole apology from 2,000 years ago is him being like, yeah, dude, you can be a Roman weirdo if you want to, and, kneel down and praise these copper statues that your grandpa had to build for you. Or maybe Jesus, the creator of heavens and earth, who himself descended through heaven into the earth to bear our sufferings and then resurrected in glory to bring us into his state of immortality. Like, yeah, that's better. Like, that's a better story. And even in modern day apologetics, that is kind of the story that we get to share. It's like, look, dude, maybe you're like, I don't know where people are at. Maybe they're kind of just given to the despair of there's nothing out there, or maybe they're into this like very vague spirituality or whatever. But it's like, Jesus is better than that, man. Like there is something so much greater that we have in the gospel that is just wonderful.
And a lot of his like in chapter 8 when he says, do you accept of the vain and silly doctrines of those who are deemed trustworthy philosophers, of whom said that fire was God, calling that God to which they themselves were by and by to come. And he basically talks about, and some people said it was water, and there's all these different elements that people think are God, and then but the thing is like they're just created things, and then the one who created them all revealed himself. And I don't know, it's as you said, this whole like Jesus is better, as he's questioning all these other people's worldviews and belief systems. It makes me think of Pastor David, and how one of his taglines in counseling is always, and how's that working out? So how's thinking fire is God working out? And even in today's discussion is like, how is unbridled hedonism working out?
Yeah. Well, it's like our buddy Brad Mell used to always say, what is the fruit from that? Like, is it bearing good fruit? And it's kind of that same idea. It's like, oh, so you've chosen to live this way, and is the fruit good, or is it bitter, and are you miserable, and are you unhappy as a result of it? Is it ruining your life and breaking up your relationships? Like, that's the whole thing about Jesus being the living water, the vine, like all of these like life-giving images. It's like he's bringing fruit. Like we are bearing something out of this. Like, I like what you said, Thomas, about the garden imagery. Like, gardens are terrible if they don't have life. If they don't have life, they're just gray and dusty and ugly and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah,
what a banger of a document.
That's it, man. Yeah. So kind of a shorter, punchier one for this week, but yeah, that's the epistle to Diognetus. It's a good read. Like I said, you could probably knock it out in 15, 20 minutes, reader or listener. So you should check it out. It's a good time.
It looks like if you want to do some academic reading, Oxford Press has in their series, the Oxford Apostolic Fathers, they have a book on it. It's just called the Epistle to Diognetus with the fragment of Quadratus. So if you want to do some academic reading on the topic, there you go.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Is that it?
That was great.
Man, I feel like we're clocking out early today. This is kind of nice.
Yeah, I know. Our episodes have been trending long, which I think our folks like, but
I think so. Yeah.
People got long drives, man.
Yeah, it's probably true. Do we have to shout anybody out? Oh, dude, we have to do another.
Do. Actually, I wanted to. I think you're probably going for the same thing, but
you go first. I just
want to shout out
Elijah Hershey, man, from Maine.
Oh, let's go! That's right, our Maine guy, dude. Yeah. Did we make a comment
from Maine?
Did we say something about how we didn't think we had any listeners in Maine? I feel like we did.
I don't. Oh, maybe. This guy says, hello from Maine. Top tier banter. I'm loving this series.
Which we're loving Maine, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Maine sounds
I think
awesome.
You said in our chat, you said, we have a fan in Maine.
Oh, there we go. Have you ever been to Maine? You guys ever been to Maine?
No, I want to, dude. I want to go eat food in Maine.
Yeah. Lobster rolls?
Yeah. Big time.
Clam chowder?
Portland, Maine is calling my name.
Dude, Elijah, don't worry about our like buy me a coffee. Just hit up our buy me a chowder. That's what I'm looking for.
Send a lobster roll or delete our number, honestly.
That's it. Yeah.
Did you see what Rowan did on your birthday post, John Simon?
What did he do?
Rowan wrote "Happy Birthday to the Gout."
To the gout?
Yikes.
Did he really?
Yeah, dude. He just shots fired at me.
Man, gosh, man. Gout of control over here, bro.
Gout of my
crazy.
Mind. Dude.
Gout of my mind.
Did either of you meet Rowan when he still lived here?
I've never met him. I've seen him all over socials. I feel like
I thought Rowan was
my absolute.
Taylor, you can't read, bro.
He said
goat. HBD to the goat.
No. He edited it.
Embarrassing.
He edited it. Man,
that's crazy.
And then I said, "Dang it, Rowan!" I did a whole thing.
I thought you were just mad because he called John the goat. I thought that's what your bit was.
I was wondering why you were so agitated about that. I thought it said gout. That's crazy. Man, you just see gout everywhere you look. That's your problem, bro. that's your problem.
I never send my shout out.
He's got too many Baptists texting him saying, "Bro, I got bad news. I got
the gout.
Got the gout.
Spent too long at the Texas Roadhouse.
The gout is out. Oh man. No, we have another haiku to write because we got another supporter on Buy Me a Coffee.
Ooh, Tommy hasn't written the haiku yet.
That's true. Tommy, do you want to do a haiku for Brian Betts?
I gotta remember. So what's the syllable count?
575.
Stop it. Stop it.
Do I have to do it on the spot, or can I make one for Brian and it'll be really awesome?
No, I think we've done it on the spot. You kind of got a riff. It's like a freestyle rap, dude.
Okay, all right. Let's see.
Yeah,
it's for BB.
Yeah, man, our
BB,
our boy BB.
I know. I'm gonna try to get Habibi in there. Let's see.
Okay, all right. I'll see what you can do.
565
575
593
575.
Yeah.
Habibi is cool. Betts is the. Oh no. I was gonna say the king of the pool. I was gonna try to rhyme it, but I feel like rhyming in a haiku is a bad idea.
King of the pool would have counted. That would be really? 7. Betts is the king of the
BB
pool.
is cool. Betts is the king of the pool.
Yeah, now 5 more.
Betts is king of the pool. Okay, dude, we're rocking.
Yeah, you got it. You're almost there. Home stretch.
Let's get a cigar because he texted me the other day that he wanted to smoke. All right,
solid.
There we go.
Right. There you go. That was maybe the best one so far. That was way better than Taylor's from last time. Remember yours, Taylor?
I know.
All right. Okay, so Habibi is cool. Betts is the king of the pool. Let's get a cigar.
That's a killer. Okay. Yeah. That's going to be our new thing. If you guys support us on Buy Me a Coffee, we will write you a haiku and then we'll put it on the air for everyone to know. And then we'll air out to all of our listeners how good of a Christian you are, which might strip you of your treasures in heaven, but you'll get one right here on earth. That's what Jesus was talking about.
The podcast shout out.
Yeah, well, he was talking about where your treasure is, there your heart is. All we want our listeners' treasures to be right here on the podcast.
We do want our listeners' hearts. Make sure you guys comment on the episodes. I know you guys are devoted, and I know you want more people to be devoted. What if you guys think about it? Think about this, guys. If you are part of the ground movement, and then we blow up, you're the OGs.
And then act like we don't know.
I was just thinking that,
dude. Here's the thing. We just had a great episode about apologetics. If you, listener, were to craft an apologetic to, the average American, how would you structure it? Put that in the comments below. We will pick our favorite answers in the next episode. And our least favorite answers, we will, there we go. Our least favorite answers, we will also mention in the next episode.
Okay.
So there we go.
Wow.
God bless you.
Bye.